good.
He's good? Okay.
Is it blinking red?
Yes!
Okay.
Okay. Tweet, snap, post, Insta, hashtag, swipe left, swipe right, go live, YouTube. These are all words that either didn't exist or had a very different meaning just 10 years ago. Social media has changed everything about the way that we live our lives. And so I brought you here today because you're each current social media users who claim to love Christ and desire his kingdom purposes for the world. And so I just wanted to talk today about the impact that social media has on our lives. I am attempting to recover from too much social media use, and I also have done a lot of research in this week. So although social media has limited God-honoring capacity, I think the most God-honoring thing that we can do is either limit or eliminate our social media use to invest in face-to-face relationships. So today we'll briefly talk about two major negative effects of social media and one positive effect of relationships outside social media. We're going to talk about the way that social media changes our brains, the way it damages our relationships, and the benefits of in-person relationship. So our first point, social media is changing us. It changes our brains, our desires, and our chemistry and our abilities. Our desires are influenced largely by the things that we see, and social media allows us to advertise in an entirely new way. Network marketing has changed dramatically because of social media. Now we see our friends, people that we're familiar with, using and doing new things that it never even occurred to us to want. But now we want them because people we know are doing them. So it's actually training us to desire things that we never wanted before. And our wallets, our brains, our relationships all suffer because of it. Social media also affects our mood. A 2013 study from the University of Michigan found that as Facebook use per day increases, satisfaction with life in general and current happiness decreases proportionately. Social media actually causes people to feel more socially isolated. So our attempts to connect are actually leaving us lonelier than we were before. Social media also changes our relationships. Socialmediatoday.com says that the average person uses social media 116 minutes per day. This is 2 hours less per day that we have for family and friends, our spouses, and our children. And it adds up to 13 and a half hours per week, or 29 and a half days, or 4 weeks per year. It also has an impact on our romantic relationships. Studies have found that 1/5 of all divorces are the result of affairs that began on Facebook. There's also an increase in jealousy and suspicion around social media accounts. People that may have previously trusted their partner now find themselves snooping around on Facebook to see what's going on. Even if there's never an affair, comparing the boring day-to-day life with our spouses who do things like leave dishes in the sink and socks on the floor to someone else's highlight reel with their spouse ultimately leads to dissatisfaction. We begin to feel that the grass is always greener on the other side of the fence because of these unrealistic expectations. So finally, we'll talk about the benefits of in-person relationship that can't be found online. Face-to-face relationships are more beneficial for many reasons. The first is the benefits of eye contact and physical touch. Neuronation.org shows that hugging releases oxytocin, which is a hormone that decreases our stress levels and makes us feel happy and increases our well-being. And friendly touch has the same effect, shaking hands, a pat on the back. And loneliness has been linked to a lower life expectancy, an increase in depression, and a dramatic increase in Alzheimer's disease. Touching and eye contact are critical to our feelings of belonging, our happiness, and our well-being. There's also a greater amount of love and accountability in our in-person relationships. We are known more deeply and fully, and it is harder for us to hide the parts of our lives that we don't want other people to see. This allows the people in our lives to point out areas of sin or danger that we might have. Someone who has seen the good, the bad, and the ugly, and loves us anyway, we're in a more deep, meaningful, and satisfying relationship with that person. And finally, we know that God values relationships. We're commanded in Scripture to live together in community and to care for one another. In John 13, we are commanded to love one another so the world will know that we are Christ's disciples. In 2 Corinthians 13, verse 11, we are commanded to comfort one another. And Hebrews 10:24 says, "Let us consider how to stir one another up to love and good works, not neglecting to meet together, but encouraging one another, all the more as you see the day drawing near." But social media often causes us to abandon or ignore our in-person relationships in favor of these shallow interactions that we have online. So as we've discussed today, devoting most of our time to the people that God has physically placed in our lives is better for us, it's better for them, and it's better for the local church. So today we discussed the negative effects of social media on our thoughts, our self-esteem, and our relationships. And we've also discussed the sheer amount of time that we spend scrolling past pictures of people that we don't even really know. We've also discussed the in-person interactions and their benefits and the ways they satisfy God's commands. So what do we do now? I would suggest that we should pay attention to the amount of time that we spend on social media. Perhaps take a break from social media. Set time limits for yourself, how long you will spend on social media, or get rid of your accounts altogether. At the very least, consider setting a part of your day apart that will be online free. Because the way that we spend our moments is the way that we spend our lives. So I would encourage you to put down your phones and spend time with the people who love you so that you do not waste your life.